Welcome to Filling You In, a dental podcast with A Squared, where dentist entrepreneurs and spouses, Dr. Anushka Gaglani and Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj, welcome industry experts and innovators to explore trends in business practices, patient care, career development, and what it takes to be successful in dentistry.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Filling You In. I'm Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj.
And I'm Dr. Anushka Gaglani, collectively known as A Squared. On this episode, we're going to introduce you to one of the fastest growing comprehensive dental groups in the country, which is also one of the most interesting because of its commitment to serving people at all income levels, as well as its theatrical flair. Rodeo Dental and Orthodontics has nearly 50 locations across Texas, Arizona, and Colorado, providing care to hundreds of thousands of patients every year. In 2023, it was named to Fortune magazine's Impact 20 list for its innovative approach to pediatric dentistry in areas where access to dental care has often been limited. It has also received more than 60,000 five-star reviews on Google and Facebook.
We're going to get all of the details on Rodeo Dental and what underpins its success from Dr. Saam Zarrabi, its co-founder and CEO. Dr. Zarrabi, thank you so much for joining us today.
How are y'all? Thank you. I love Dr. A Squared. That's awesome. I'm Dr. Z.
Love it, Dr. Z. We want to dive in, want to ask our first question. I think our audience is pretty curious as well. What was your journey into dentistry, and what's your background, and how did you fall into dentistry?
Yeah, so grew up around dentistry my whole life. So had my first experience in dentistry by meeting my stepfather, who was a dentist, and got the experience of growing up really in the environment of a dental practice. He always was amazing with the patient. He still practices till this day, 40 years plus in Southern California. And so got to hang out at the office when I was little, clean the practice for an allowance, in the bathrooms and toilets for an allowance for when I was younger. And then when I was in high school, I got to help with administrative stuff, bookkeeping, things like that. And I always had a sort of an entrepreneurial spirit and mindset. And so when I got to college, I found some really great mentors in dentistry that I got to learn, like, hey, outside of the four walls of the practice, I really want to learn like from the best of the best of the best. And so in college, I was introduced to Dr. Bill Dorfman, who's one of the best in the world at what he does, and was lucky to be able to intern under him, see him, help him guide his amazing presentations in cosmetic dentistry, help on Extreme Makeover, watch him impact some amazing people in their lives. And so got to see a different side of dentistry. He ran Discus and grew and founded that with the whitening. And so I learned the business side, like the big business side of dentistry, from him. And so that inspired me to say, hey, there's so much we can do beyond just practicing. There's so many ways we can impact people's lives in our field that I wanted to try to do myself when I graduated. So went to dental school at Pacific, met my partners there, my life partner and Dr. Maggie, who was my classmate, and then my business partners, Dr. Mansour and Dr. Degoni. And when we graduated in '08, crazy year, by the way, financial crisis happening, looking for a job at that time was difficult. And so my old roommate from college said, hey, come out to Texas, there's some jobs. And so got my first job in Fort Worth, Texas, after coming out in that summer of '08, and worked. I just took the job, found the ad and grabbed it. And the practice was not quite what I expected it to be. It was an underserved part of the community, and realized that they weren't really taking care of the patients in a way that I had been accustomed to, in the spirit of patient and customer service, in the spirit of, really building a practice that was there to give high-end dentistry and quality dentistry, and do it in a way that makes the patients want to feel like they want to come back, and a practice culture that is built around creating happy employees and team members. And so within that context, I left. I quit after 4 weeks. And so I was jobless in Texas. And from there, luckily my future partner was starting a practice. And so that fall of '08, we started our first location. Learned a lot that first year, hyper focused on culture, patient experience, all of that, and did well, but learned some stuff, really studied like the intricacies of patient flow and the patient journey and how to really create efficiency while building a great patient experience. And so fast forward, fall of '09, we opened our first Rodeo Dental location, and the name came from being by the Fort Worth Stockyards, where the famous rodeo is held. If you've ever been to Fort Worth, I highly recommend you go to the Stockyards. It's an awesome place for families, for if you want to go out, have a great dinner in an evening. It's just an awesome rodeo experience. And it inspired us to create the name. Our first location's right by the Stockyards. And so we built it with a big lobby, very entertaining, the theatrical sort of feel, but also with a comprehensive pediatric dentistry, orthodontics, and specialty built in. And we took off like a rocket ship from there. Started to build from there organically. We went to South Texas and throughout. And today we've got 48 locations. We're in Texas, Arizona, and Colorado. We've got about 1,000 team members that are amazing, 200 amazing dentists and providers across all the specialties. And we're on track to have about 600,000 patient visits this year.
Wow, you just gave me goosebumps. That's one heck of a story, Dr. Z.
Thank you.
One of the things that really stood out to me was when I moved, when I moved from India as an immigrant in 2011, I went to NYU, and I literally have the same story where Dr. Bill Dorfman came in as a guest lecturer
Oh, that's awesome.
NYU, and he's the guy that truly inspired me to think so much bigger. I also always tell Anushka that too. It was super
love
awesome.
that.
To hear
I'll
that
have
from
to
you as well.
introduce you to him again, and maybe he can do the podcast. But you know what I love is his commitment to teaching and giving back. He has a great program called Leap. It's all about mentorship, and so that's cool. I love that he did that.
Yes.
That's super cool. One of the things you said your first job you lasted 4 weeks. I thought mine was short, 3 months for me, and I had a similar experience to you.
Wow. Where? Which city?
In Chicago, in
Yeah.
the suburbs. Yeah.
I hear, as I tell that story and I speak at Dykema or some of these amazing conferences, I share that story and I get told that a lot. I like many people across the country share these stories, and I think dentistry over the last decade has gone through a transitionary period, right? Where we've seen a new age in dentistry. The technology's gotten better. The commitment to the delivery of care and the environment and just the focus on patient experience, I think, has really leveled up, which is exciting, I think.
Most definitely. I totally agree. Again, first of all, congratulations. It's quite a journey into Rodeo Dental, but where did the focus for pediatrics and family care come from?
Yeah, so a couple areas. One, in that first job, that was the patient base, and so I thought, hey, I want to build something here in the community that is going to provide a better service to families and kids. That was the first piece. The second piece also, I grew up teaching Taekwondo, and as a child, I did martial arts growing up, and then as I was in high school, that was my first job outside of my stepfather's practice, and so teaching kids and sort of just having that environment was something I always enjoyed, and creating a fun environment where it would make them excited and changing that perception of dentistry that we've all been used to growing up in the 80s, like Steve Martin, Little Shop of Horrors, or, the dentist in The Hangover, who's this like goofy, clumsy idiot. Like, why do we have to always be like,
Right.
perceived like negatively versus, hey, what if we can change that really? And so I thought doing it from an area that had a negative perception in pediatric dentistry in underserved areas, changing that in one of the hardest environments, then we could really make a shift in the field that would be long lasting.
You spoke that really spoke to me when you said, why are we always portrayed that way? I can't tell you how many people, and it happened more when I was younger. I think with age, people just expect that you're going to be something, but people would say, you don't look like a dentist. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Should I look like the Hangover dentist? I don't know what that means.
Right.
It's
Oh,
true. There's so many different things. They'll be like, yeah, you're not the dentist. Like you'll literally know, yeah, I really am. Be like, or I hate the dentist. Like we get that
yeah.
all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dr.
Totally.
Z, you briefly touched on providing access to lower income and underserved communities. Where does that commitment or passion come from?
Yeah. Candidly, coming out also was an immigrant coming over in the early 80s. And, you know, for many years, I grew up in a household. We lived in a single one bedroom apartment in LA. Um, I grew up on food stamps. I was on the program in my first early years of my life. And so, seeing that first job and understanding that we can do better as a profession in delivering care to this area, and it can be done in a meaningful way that could be fulfilling to a mission. To me, once we started, it was just for that one practice, but as we continued to grow and gain our momentum around like 6 locations, I started to realize, okay, we actually have something here that's bigger than just the one practice in the location. We're solving a bigger problem, and as the patient base grew and the culture and the commitment, it just all kind of organically built from that. And today, I think when I look at our mission and hearing stories like you're describing, or the first job, or the patient that had that fear and anxiety and trust broken, but now loves it, that we just build off of that and we keep sharing those stories. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a very, very good reason.
Yes. Thank
Um, so you offer a full range of services in each practice. Can you tell us about the one-stop shop approach?
Yeah, thank you. So we really started predominantly on incorporating pediatric dentistry and ortho. Obviously, general dentistry is our foundation, but bringing in that full service, we realized families really enjoyed getting everything done under one roof. So mom or dad are coming in, they're bringing the kids. Sometimes they have 3 or 4 different insurance types, and so solving their needs, right? We're trying to be the solution for the family as a whole. And so, they come in as a small child, they need work done, so they need to see the pediatric dentist. But teenager needs to see the orthodontist. So we started to bring in, and studying patient flow, ways that we can incorporate specialty, more initially on a part-time basis, call it 2 to 4 days a month. But as we grew and got better at it, we were able to incorporate more consistent and frequent specialty. So today we're about 60% general, 40% specialty. We've incorporated endo, oral surgery, really around wisdom tooth removal,
Hmm.
and then also some general anesthesia services, and even a little bit of pros, so implants and things like that, that apply. I still say though, we're a community focused dentist, meaning we still partner with our local dentist because we can't do everything under one roof. So we still work and refer out to our specialty partners. We still work with our hospitals and surgery centers. But our goal is we want to be there for the community, and we want to solve your problems. And if I can do it in-house, great. But if not, I want to partner with the community to see how we solve the patient's issues.
Awesome. Right on. You've obviously grown a ton since starting the company 16 years ago, right? What do you think has led to, or what are some of the most important elements in your growth and success that you would attribute to?
Our people. I think number one, at every stage of growth, you've got to have the right people around you and team. You can't do it on your own. And every stage of this company's growth is a testament to the great people around me and the team that have helped get it there. In our first locations, it was the first team from the Stockyards office, like flying in or going to these other locations and training the teams up to understand how our systems run and to build the culture. And then as we grew, that next level of bringing in our DSO team and them helping us kind of figure out the things that, again, all of these stages are learning curves for me. So I like to bring in folks that have seen it, done it, are smarter than me, and can help guide us and do it with the culture and mission in mind. But yeah, I would say number one in growing to this size is you got to have the right people. And that's at different stages, by the way, too. So what got us to this size today wasn't what got us from 2 to 6 or 6 to 10. And so you got to just be able to adapt to that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
one of the things Abhishek always says is what got us here won't get us there. So
Yes.
totally.
In fact, it keeps us here, right?
Yep.
It's true. And I think having that self-realization too, because it's hard as a founder and leader to come to that realization sometimes because, you may have a team member that you've outgrown or things happen
Cool.
within the system that life happens. So I think that self-realization of being able to reflect on, hey, we need to adapt to change. And how do we do that in a way that still maintains positivity and growth at mind? It's hard.
It's very hard. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think there's sometimes this idea from people that haven't managed or been entrepreneurs, right? At least I've run into people like this that think it's like, yeah, you just sit in your little ivory tower and it's all people, right? It's all about
Yes,
managing people all the time.
it's true. I love it. I'm glad you guys got me today in the practice. But to me, I really enjoy visiting the locations, being there, understanding, learning from the teams at the front line. That's the best place to understand and seeing them where they're at. Um, but you got to make that part of your repertoire as you grow.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Totally. So, as the leader of such a large company, I'm curious to know what your leadership philosophy is and how you approach that dimension of your work.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a very servant-hearted leader. I would be categorized as visionary, servant-hearted. I like to really be there as somebody that is there to help solve their issues and problems. Whether I can do it myself, sometimes to a fault, or I can find the solutions for them with the organization. But um, I really think of that first, and then I think about really living by our mission and core values, and really making sure that that's at the foundation of everything we do in our daily, weekly meetings as a team, a leadership team, at the practice level in the morning meetings, and then even on our monthly town halls, try to bring to light stories that connect our core values and different things that happen throughout the company, not just from me experiencing it, but from the rest of the team. I don't want to be the face of the brand. I want our people to be the face of the brand because ultimately it's their voice that the brand shines through.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, and that takes a lot of, introspection and self-reflection to be able to say, hey, this is not about me, this is about the team. Absolutely love that, right? It can be very hard because it's your baby and you want to be in control, right?
Or
Yes.
conjoined twin, as we say
Or a
sometimes.
conjoined twin, because you do share a soul you do share a soul with the business, right? A previous guest on the podcast, Amol Nirgotkar of Patient,
Yes.
right, said one of the biggest barriers to growth in dentistry is that practices do not have enough capacity to see patients quickly enough. So what are some steps that Rodeo Dental is taking to address that issue?
Oh my God. I love that question. Everything we do focuses on that. So our entire patient scheduling and model is based on patient flow. So we've actually gone across away from the traditional dental model that's taught in dental schools. So um, traditional dental models today, the practices like my stepfather's or many out there are built on a book from the 60s that um, really builds on your traditional block scheduling of one per hour or half hour, and that's how you build, and they're assigned to operatory, and that's how you sort of run through your day and year. We've taken a whole different approach and did it based on patient flow. And so, uh, if you sort of map the journey of your patient journey that can come in, and you build your offices from a capacity standpoint to be able to adapt to different levels of patient flow, whether it gets really busy in the afternoon, or it's lighter in the morning, you can adapt to those levels of patient flow and make sure that the patients are getting through in a very systematic approach that feels fun and also very efficient. Then from that point, you can actually expand your capacity quite a bit, to where you can see um, 2 or 3x the amount of patients that you would normally see in a traditional practice. Because if they don't show up, then that blows up and the operatory remains empty. We do it in a way that bakes some of that in so that you can see the patients in a very efficient manner, and deal with the ebbs and flows of volume. So
Awesome.
everything I'm teaching on right now is wait time. That was why I'm here today. The number one complaint that we see and study amongst our patients and many practices around the country is wait time, wait time, wait time, wait time.
Yep.
And typically if we overstack schedules, then patients feel it, the temperature of the lobby goes up and they exit. And so we're really dealing with how do we manage wait time and improve that experience while working with team dynamics, setting up the way the assistants are set up, room assignments, all those things are taken into account. And that way you can reduce wait times in some really efficient ways throughout the stage of the experience.
I love that premise, like focusing on one thing and figuring that out, right? And then
Right.
it's like, now what's the next thing that's going to break? There's always something, though.
There's always
There's,
something.
there's always going to be a constraint, right?
Yeah.
You just have to-
Great book recommendation. Dan Heath wrote the book Reset, and what he talks about in that is teaching the team on how to target the constraint. And so looking at your day, what broke, what went wrong? We lost an X-ray unit, team member called out. Okay, great. Well, that's going to happen, right? So how do you solve for that in the day so that you maintain your patient flow and keeping your wait times down? And so we're literally going through and teaching that practice to practice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So we mentioned theatrical flair in the intro because of the opportunities you give patients to get creative and have some fun while they're in your practices. Can you tell us a little bit more about your production stages and the Pop Spirit celebrations?
Yeah, that's awesome. So it started with an idea, again, growing up around Los Angeles and Disneyland. I always loved the entertainment aspect of that experience. And so we always would say, well, we can build a great lobby with TV and theater and arcade, but really what shines is our people. And so um, as an initial thing, we would start during, if we're seeing kids, like spring breaks are really big time, back to school, the holidays, Halloween. So we would start to incorporate little things in the lobbies like balloon artist, face painter. Let's set up something cool so that we can bring some life to the lobby and make the experience fun. And so from there, we started to do themed experiences. And so we would create different themes for the month or season and come up with fun names. The teams would come up with different names and ideas, and we would just run with it. And then they would kind of take the theme and make it their own. And so offices would be designed and decorated in different functions in their own contest, but it was their themed event. And so once we built that, then it just became sort of part of our normal month to month seasonality. So now every year we do about 5 or 6 a year, and they coincide with the different holidays, and the teams have fun with it. So we just did spring break. We did like a whole Ken and Barbie theme, and patients dressed up. We do little contests. They take pictures. There's a backdrop, and
Nice.
it's awesome.
That's
That
really
sounds like a
cool.
lot of fun. I think maybe I need to be a patient at Rodeo Dental.
Come on, let's go. We would be
Love it.
honored to have y'all. I think it's cool because you can't the practice success is not going to come from the aesthetics. It's going to come from the people. We actually just did a study, a third party, Qualtrics did a survey of our patients. They surveyed 5,000 patients, 500 responded. And the number one thing that the patients responded, both patients that come to us currently and do not anymore, we got to survey both. Number one thing they chose for Rodeo was not the lobby. Lobby was on there. It was like 3 or 4.
Yes.
And the experience with the number one thing was the friendliness of the staff. That was like number one thing. We like the friendliness and the people. And so I showed that to the team to say, guys, it's not your lobby that's going to do it. It's you. And ultimately, practices that get that have the most success.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think, that's something we tell our teams as well. We've had a dental assistant say, well, I'm just a dental assistant. And I'm like, you're not just a dental. I don't know. That's not a thing.
That's right.
You are the person after the first person to answer the call. You are the next person they see who's going to assuage their fears. So there's no such thing as just in.
Yeah, that
love
treatment
that.
acceptance has everything to do with how you greeted that patient. It isn't just on the doctor, right? So
I absolutely love that. I'm going to borrow that one actually from you, Doc, because I agree. And I actually take that to the DSO to say, hey, you have a hand in the patient experience. Every bit of support that you all are providing to the practices enables them to deliver the patient experience. And you have to understand that you're not just a accountant. You're not just somebody answering calls. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to do a quick lightning round.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Number one, what was your last impulse buy?
Oh my gosh. Tickets to the Game 7 Dallas Stars playoff game last week. It was
nice.
That was good. I took the family and the boys. We had a lot of fun.
That's
Last
awesome.
minute impulse buy.
Oh my gosh.
That was my first hockey game of the year, but I was
Really?
like Game 7, and I've heard they're fun, and it was an awesome win.
The guest yesterday said that he'd bought a diamond and gold Cartier bracelet. I've got to up my game with these impulse buys.
Okay. It's got to go. First one that comes, go for it.
It's usually more planned. So
What are the least likely 3 words someone would use to describe you?
Least likely 3 words. I don't think they would say I'm selfish. So that would be one. Least likely. Ego. It doesn't have a big ego. I would say they would say I'm very humble. Humility is a good one. And then least likely 3 would be mean-spirited, because I'm very nice. I think everybody says I'm very nice. So those would be my 3 opposites, I guess. Did I answer that right?
That you did it perfectly. I know we've only just met, but I think humility is definitely.
yeah, you certainly seem like it's all you're all 3 of those.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely. Definitely. And the last one, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh man. Lionel Richie, Hello.
Hey,
Nice.
Don't ask me to do it.
not today. Maybe in the next Dykema.
Yes. Okay. I know. See, now you put it out there. That's gonna happen. Dang it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Zarrabi.
Thank you. This was a blast. I love what y'all are doing, and thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
I'm Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj.
And I'm Dr. Anushka Guglani. Thanks for checking out today's show, and we hope you can join us again next time.
Thanks for watching this episode of Filling You In, where we uncover the insights, trends, and stories shaping the dental industry. If you like this podcast, please share it on your social channels and visit Areo Dental Group on LinkedIn or on Instagram @Areo Dental Group. You can also subscribe to the series and check out all of our episodes on this YouTube channel or at areodental.com/podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and let's keep elevating the dental field together.